Yes. Hello. Happy Monday. Up, out, and getting after it. That's how we go today. So fans, we love this time of year. NFL free agency rolls around. Everyone gets fired up because we absolutely love our team, our billionaire owners, El Padrones, just spending all of the money to try and make this team better, try and buy a championship. But should we? I mean, how often do these free agent contracts really work out? Because for every Steve Hutchinson, for every Linval, for every Antoine Winfield and Pat Williams, there's a dozen Bernard Berrians and Mediu Williams and Fred Smoots. And also, not to mention that the Vikings are in the midst of the biggest free agent contract in NFL history in Kirk Cousins, and results TBD. But let's break down on the saying that we bandy about a lot here on the program is that free agency is a tax on teams who don't draft well. So just break it down real quick. Now, I'm not to say that free agency doesn't have its part. Now, supplementing a team can show great results. You look at Baltimore. Traditionally, last off season, they didn't really get involved with a lot of free agency, but then they brought in Earl Thomas, then they brought in a lot of other pieces as well. Got the 1 seed, didn't quite work out. Maybe it's a bad example. Anyways, but I'm also talking about open free agency. I'm not talking about drafting and then retaining your own players before they hit the market. I ain't talking about that. But also, yeah, the supplementation route, because you have to build your team through the draft. That comes first and foremost. That includes hitting on your early picks as well as finding late round gems, even though the batting average is much worse in the later rounds unless you're Rick Spielman because you own half the 7th round, right? And then supplement with a few key free agents, nailed it, that are ideally not too expensive. Also, never pay retail. Like when has, all right, so a bidding war for whatever position du jour is up there, whether it be left tackle, not really quarterback, because it's rare that franchise quarterbacks hit the market. Actually, franchise quarterback has never hit the open market. Kirk Cousins still TBD, as well as Peyton Manning after that neck thing. That just doesn't happen. But say a premier left tackle, say a premier edge rusher, premier cornerback. When has paying absolute top of the market dollar ever worked out? Like how many championships has Ndamukong Suh won? That's what I want to know, right? And also, you just look at teams that have traditionally just keep shoving their chips in, right? Look at Daniel Snyder in Washington, Bruce Smith, Adam Archuleta, Antoine Randall L, Deion Sanders, and of course Albert Haynesworth, just massively overpaying in these open market deals just to get players into Washington. I mean, homeboy overpaid for everyone except for Kirk Cousins, which, okay, sure. Yeah, and also the 2011 Eagles Dream Team, remember that one? Where it was Nnamdi Asomugha, Jason Babin, Ronnie Brown, and Vince Young, and not so much. I think they went 8-8. As well as recently, like the 2014 Buccaneers, because remember, that was the first year of Zimmer, and we were really bummed that Michael Johnson, the former Cincinnati defensive end, he chose Tampa Bay over Minnesota. It's like, oh, well, Zimmer and his former players, it makes just sense, right? So they massively overpaid Michael Johnson. They massively overpaid Josh McCown, who had a recent career resurgence, I believe in Chicago. He had a decent year. And then also cornerback Alteron Werner they paid through the nose for. And then they cut everyone after a year because they realized, oh, it doesn't work. Yeah, because free agents, they're mercenaries, and they play like such. And not to go down the entire psychological rabbit hole, but there is something to be said about when you have this core group of young players who came up through the ranks, drafted by the same team. I mean, some guys maybe worked up their way from UDFAs, and then they stick together, and sometimes they take a little bit less just to stay together in that locker room. And when they win, it's phenomenal. It's something that they put in a lot of time for. There is a lot of chemistry in that locker room, a la what the Vikings have going on right now. Or if you just have a bunch of guys who are highly paid, potentially prima donnas, coming into a cold locker room where they have no idea about the hierarchy or the patriarchy or the chemistry or whatever issues going on, sometimes it doesn't work. Sometimes it just does not work. And also the Vikings in recent big name free agency or big ticket free agency have been hit or miss. I mean, Mike Remmers, swing and a miss. Pretty meh on Riley Reef. TBD on Cousins. Of course, he got a hit a home run with Linval and Terrence Newman. But, I mean, the best way to do free agency, like we mentioned earlier, is supplementing. That second, third wave free agency. So after legal tampering is over, after that first wave of free agents are gone, all the money is spent, oh, who's left over? And just, tiptoe through the tulips and just pluck, pluck, pluck. Yeah, it's like, ever gone to a Asian fish market, or just a fish market in general? There's always Asians there because that's what I do. So if you go to the Seattle or San Francisco fish market, all the boats come in freshest catch, and all of the Chilean sea bass, all of the tuna, all the top tier salmon. That all goes fast. That all goes to wholesalers and restaurants and distributors, all that stuff, and then hanging back. So all this stuff happens like 4 or 5 in the morning. Then say about 10:30, 11 o'clock, the guy just hanging back. Some Korean dude reading a Korean newspaper, probably just like chewing on a toothpick. When's the last time you ate something? Why do you have a toothpick right there? Just comes in and picks up all of the discount little fishies that they're just going to go to waste otherwise. That's how you should do it for agency. The Vikings have done well. I mean, Linval technically probably was a second-tier free agent. He's worked out very well for the Vikings. Josh Klein was a third-wave free agent, and he was arguably the second-best offensive lineman for the Vikings at times last year. And then also, you can count Case Keenum on there too. I wouldn't fault you either way. But bottom line, I mean, teams who win in March, or at least teams who try to win in March, they don't win in February. So even though it's going to be frustrating the next couple weeks, Vikings are cap strapped. Maybe it is just saving them from themselves. And it'll be frustrating as a fan in free agency next week when everyone else is spending money and getting the big names and holding up the jerseys and all that stuff. But it's like going to Christmas with no presents. But this may work out in the end. But we'll see. All right, your thoughts? Free agency being attacks on teams who don't draft well, let us know in the comment section below. Also, subscribe for daily Vikings takes. If you want to support the work, pull us up in the Venmo. Plus, give us a follow on social media as well. But until next time, Skull, production value.